So for the statement to come out of Dave Ramsey's mouth that the VA loan is the worst and most expensive loan out there was 100% wrong. Hello, Shane Willis, Pensacola real estate expert, bringing you today's episode. Happy Veterans Day, everyone. Happy Veterans Day. For those of us who have served, thank you for your service. Remember the difference. This is Veterans Day, not Memorial Day. So very fitting on this episode. I wanted to bring up the fact that this is the 75th anniversary of the VA home loan benefits. And also the Servicemen's Readjustment Act. What did the Servicemen's Readjustment Act give us? The GI Bill. Since 1944, we've had these benefits. Now listen, there was a video a couple of years ago, and it always seems to surface around Veterans Day, at least in some of the circles that I run in online. And it's from a person I respect, but quite frankly, on this one, he's wrong. And it's okay to respect someone and just understand that this advice was wrong. And that's Dave Ramsey. I know a lot of people, and I follow him too, and he gives out a lot of good advice. This particular one, he was wrong. It was a person that called in 16, getting out of the military. And he asked Dave if he should buy or rent, because he's moving down to Jacksonville. And Dave said, based on your situation, I would not use your VA loan because it's one of the most expensive loans out there. Instead, I would rent for a year, maybe two, and then you can put 5 or 10% down, and you won't pay the expenses that a VA loan has.
When the VA loan's a more expensive loan anyway. It's not a bargain. It's the worst loan out there.
And to be honest, that was horrible advice. Dave, that was horrible. First of all, now it's 2019. He gave up 2-3 years, even if it was a year worth of appreciation, which would have been bad. B, we did not ask the questions of if there was any service-related disability, which would have lowered the VA fees. Bad. And 3, when you're putting 5-10% down, and I know he mentioned it, he said, hey, you will pay MI. But if you look at how much you're going to pay in MI, yes, it's until you get to 80%, and then it's a fight sometimes to get it off of there. But if you look at how much your MI payment is going to be, it's going to be drastically higher. So for the statement to come out of Dave Ramsey's mouth that the VA loan is the worst and most expensive loan out there was 100% wrong. Wrong. And I have got number after number after number to prove it. So, sorry, getting a little fired up on this Veterans Day, but as a veteran and someone who's worked in this industry since '93, yeah, that was wrong. That was bad advice. So I'm going to go over a little bit of the benefits of VA home loans, and let's talk about facts too first. 24 million homes are backed by the veterans. I've used my VA loan twice. Some people don't know that you actually can have 2 VA loans at the same time, meaning I had a property and we were selling it, but I hadn't sold it yet, and I bought my next one. And I still had a VA loan on the past one, and I bought this one. And some banks, even some lenders here locally, I'm not going to point out any names, are going to tell you that you can't do that you have to close or sell the first one before you get the second one. No, there are limitations on it, but you can have 2 at the same time. 24 million, 82% of the VA loans are made with no down payment. That's the biggest benefit of a veteran. You can get in with no down payment. There is a funding fee, and depending on if you got any disability when you got out, that funding fee could be lowered. So there is a funding fee that gets rolled into the loan. And the argument that some people make right at this point is if you do 100% financing and then you roll a funding fee in the loan, you're immediately negative equity. That is true. So if you plan on staying here for a year and selling the property, this does not make sense. That point, VA would not make sense. If you stand on playing. How about plan on staying? If you plan on staying here 3 or 4 years and then turning the property into a rental for 4 or 5 years, it makes total sense. So there is a point where the VA loan, but I mean, if you're only going to be here a year, it might not behoove you. If you don't plan on turning it into a rental, it might not behoove you to put it out there anyways. That may be one of the situations that you need to rent. And I've had that conversation with a lot of guys coming here, guys and gals, coming here, and they're only here for a year or two. But that may make sense. There's also some grants out there, and a lot of people don't know that VA has a rehab, meaning, some of the properties we have need some rehab work. I know of one right now that I have listed. It needs some rehab work. If you got a VA loan, you actually could rehab it up and roll it all into the loan. And that's not going to put you negative equity. because we're going to make sure the loan is going to build up to make sure that even after the repairs, you're still in positive equity, or at least at 100%. But now you get to rehab things the way you want them, all inside of a VA loan. So what's the benefits? No down payment. There's no mortgage insurance on this. That is a huge, huge benefit on VA loans. Another one is lower credit score requirements. Now, I know, again, Dave Ramsey's all about paying off all your bills, don't have any debt. And it's okay. I'm all about good debt. Debt is not all bad. I'm more of a Kiyosaki fan that there's a difference between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt is that credit card debt. If you're having to pay that down, cool, got it. A good debt is if you're actually putting money in your pocket. So I have no problems borrowing money from a bank to buy a rental property, as long as that rental property is putting money in my pocket every month. But there is a lower credit requirement to be able to get VA loans. It's actually, some local lenders here are going to say, hey, you need to have 620. At least I've seen VA loans in the mid 500s get done. I've seen VA loans get done in the low 500s. There's some criteria that have to be met, but there is a lower credit score requirement. And there's also a limitation on closing costs. There are things that us as veterans, the VA loan demands that the seller does, and they have to pay for it. So meaning here in our area, because I know there's people that watch this show all over the country, in our area, the VA demands a termite report, but the VA also demands that the seller pays for that termite report. So that's something that, we can't even put the buyer. That veteran's not going to get charged that. That veteran's not going to get charged some other junk fees that I've seen on settlement statements all over. All right, so there's a limitation on those. And the interest rate on these government-backed loans, I've seen them lower. They're definitely comparable with conventional. But yeah, it's 3.5 right now, 3.75 for a VA loan at 100% financing. And on top of that, you're not throwing away, and this is what Ramsey told this guy to do, told this veteran to do, said rent for a year or two. Why throw that money away? Seriously, why throw that money away? Now, what he was trying to say is rent lower than the place you're going to buy. But if you look, since 1980, and I've put this graph up plenty of times, the rent has constantly gone up every month almost. All right, I got a research team actually looking to see how much it's actually gone up. But it has gone up every month. So all of a sudden you rent for 2 years, your rent's probably going to go up. Whereas if we're locking into a 30-year, we kind of know what our housing payment is going to be. How do we not make financial decisions if we know what our housing payment is going to be versus what we don't know? It just doesn't make sense. So on this one, I think he's wrong. I think he's absolutely wrong. I know I played the clip, but I think he's absolutely wrong. And here on Veterans Day, I'm just going to call him out on it. All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, if you've not subscribed to get the tips, tricks, graphs, infographics, get over to 5minutesinrealestate.com. Plus, get over to the Facebook page. I really have some serious contests running. Facebook.com/Shane Willis, the Realtor. Happy Veterans Day. And for all of you who have served, thank you for your